One of the questions that we get a lot here at KC Property Guys is ultimately, how does the process work? You know, we do get quite a few phone calls on a weekly basis, and many of those phone calls are asking, hey, I'm exploring this process, how does it work? One of the things that we talk about is the closing process. So once we get to the point where we've reached a price at which you're happy as a seller, we're happy as a buyer, it's that happy medium, then we need to talk about the closing. And so for us at KC Property Guys, the closing, the timing, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, it really doesn't matter to us. We're indifferent in terms of the timing. It's flexible to you guys as the seller. But more importantly, we want to ensure with confidence that your process, the closing process between you as a seller and us as a buyer, is handled with a professionalism and with confidence that ultimately it's going to sell, and that the title is going to be transferred confidently and warranted and guaranteed that it's secure and safe from you as a seller, so there's no back and forth, that clean title can be transferred. So ultimately, we have a 3-page, very simple and straightforward real estate contract. It talks about the price, the legal location of the residence, ultimately the close date, the deposits, and are all going to be worked into this real straightforward contract. We do all our closings with a local title company, so there's no real estate attorneys or no quick claim deeds or handshake deals, things of that nature. We actually go through professional closing companies that will warrant and guarantee that clean title is transferred to us as the buyer, so you're protected as the seller, and they'll also act as an escrow company, so we ultimately pay the title company for our deposits of good faith that we're going to close, and we're going to close on time, which we always do, and for ultimately the day of pay, when all proceeds are paid out, they're going to be the escrow company that will ultimately pay you guys in the form of either a money order, or most people actually do a bank wire to one of the local bank accounts. They're also the company that's responsible for paying off of any third-party debts like mortgages, things of that nature, so you don't have to worry about that. And so they handle all the underwriting, they handle the closing company, handles all the third-party transactions, and they coordinate that closing between you as a seller, us as a buyer, and ensure that we're going to close on the day that we say we're going to close, and that you're going to get the monies that ultimately it's guaranteed that you're going to get paid on the day that you get paid. So our contract is a simple 3-page real estate contract. We encourage everybody to read all the way through it. It'll discuss the legal description of the property, ultimately the price of the property. It discusses our closing dates at which we've agreed to, and also the deposits that we put down with the closing company that will tell us that we are in good faith going to close on the date we're going to close at the price that we're going to close at. So I encourage you guys to read through those contracts. In fact, you want to read through any contract that you establish with a cash home buyer to ensure that you may not, if by choice you don't want to work with a wholesaler, someone who's going to assign that contract to a third party. If you ultimately want to deal direct with a cash home buyer, you'll want to read that contract in detail to ensure that you are closing with the person that you are working with that day that you've decided to sell this house to a cash home buyer. So look through those contract pieces.